Chapter 22. Is there any way to talk to your father? Nightlight snarled. I gave you everything, and this is how you repay. With some effort, he composed himself. Look at you. Nightlight beamed. The element of magic. You are the true protector of Equestria now. Is it just what you always wanted? I still remember the little filly that put on a cape and swore she would defend Equestria for the evil of Corona. Twilight smirked. Pure her father hadn't realized something. I'm not the element of magic, nor could I ever be. What? But Nightlight said in confusion. His head turned towards Trixie, who was still lying on the ground unconscious. No, he growled in annoyance. That mare is a cockroach. Nightlight teleported and appeared next to Trixie, looming over her, and aimed his horn at her for a lightning bolt at the helpless mare. But Twilight anticipated this. She teleported next to Trixie the moment her father disappeared, and shot him point blank in the head before he could launch his spell. She grabbed Trixie by a huff and teleported to safety. It surprised Twilight how easy the teleport was. It almost took no effort at all. Oftentimes, teleporting with another pony was difficult and painful. Must be a perk of her new powers. In a blink, she and Trixie were in the Canterlot Central Park area, right next to the water fountain, with a statue of the princess herself. Despite the late hour, and the fact the sun was setting in the distance, ponies were still milling about in the park. They gasped at the sudden appearance of a strange mare in armor, and chatted to each other in low voices. Twilight ignored the spectators and grabbed Trixie by the leg with her magic, and dropped the unconscious mare into the fountain. In a moment, Trixie surfaced, coughing and sputtering, waving her legs frantically in the air. It took a moment, but the magician pulled herself from the fountain, soaking wet. Trixie shook the water off herself, and turned towards Twilight, looking about to rant at her, and froze wide-eyed at the unexpected appearance of the strange pony in white armor. Who the hey are you? Trixie backed up against the fountain and gave Twilight a wary look. Trixie, I'm me, Twilight said. I'm Twilight. Trixie gaped, eyes as wide as stair plates. Twilight? What are you? Are you a ranger now? Twilight nodded. It's a long story. That's good, Trixie said after a moment. We can use the help. Twilight beamed. She was glad to be part of the team. Just one question, Trixie said. Why the hey did you almost drown me in the fountain? Twilight rubbed the back of her neck in embarrassment. It was the only way I could think of to wake you up, quickly. So, the answer was to almost kill me. You don't know some kind of waking up spell? Trixie demanded. Well, no, Twilight relented. Trixie was overreacting. The fountain was only 3 holes deep. Fine, whatever, Trixie said. She still looked a little sour, but wanted to drop the suspect. So you're alive. A voice approaching them growled. Twilight and Trixie turned to see Nightlight coming their way. Why can't you just bury yourself in a hole and die already? Trixie grinned and pulled out her morpher. It's morphin' time! Ursa! She transformed and did her own bow pose. What can I say? They call me Great and Powerful Trixie for a reason. I'm basically unkillable. I was hoping, Nightlight said through clenched teeth, you will at least not have your powers anymore. Since my daughter was right about you still being the element of magic. Trixie gave a non-committal shrug. Nightlight responded by launching a larger than normal lightning bolt at Trixie and struck her with unnatural speed. Twilight saw this coming and pushed Trixie out of the way. The bolt flew between them and obliterated the fountain statue behind them. Twilight looked behind her at the carnage and gasped. That was a priceless piece of art! That fountain has stood there for over 500 years! She said in outrage. That was the work of Chisel Perfection himself! It was an eyesore. The ponies around them screamed and ran for it. That was good, at least. Twilight pointed her guns at her father and shot a volley of blasts at him. Where's Shining? What's Shining Armor doing right now? He deflected them with a sword held in his aura with little difficulty. He used the distraction to come out with her own sword. He dodged the blows and did his best to keep his distance before retaliating with a kick towards Trixie's head as he blocked with her sword. He drove the sword down at Trixie and it scraped the side of her head, but she moved out of the way in time to avoid most of the damage. Nightlight attempted to unleash a spell at Trixie point blank, but flew across the park when Twilight shot at him. He got back to his host and teleported. Twilight's eyes started back and forth, trying to figure where her father disappeared. There! As he fired, her father screamed as a volley of bullets struck him as he reappeared. He tried to dodge them, but weaving. But there were too many of them, and he missed time to dodge. A bullet hit him in the leg, making him lose his footing. He twisted as he struggled to his hooves. Tracy took advantage of this by delivering a devastating blow to his chest, while a follow-up kick that sent him sprawling. Nightlight teleported again to Tracy's right, but she blocked several cuts out of her way. Her own soared with little difficulty, delivered another kick, this time in the ribs. Crashed to the pavement. Twilight teleported in front of him and shot him several times point blank in the head, causing him to writhe on the ground in pain. He teleported again, but Trixie cut him down seconds after he reappeared. Sparks flew and lay on the ground, motionless for a few moments. Ha! Not so tough now, are you? Trixie taunted. Aren't you tired to fight the two of us now? Her father glared up at Trixie, growling under his breath, and teleported again. He braced himself to reappear and continued to fight. I scanned the immediate area for him, but saw nothing. Coward! Quiet! Twilight sighed. Trixie got taken aback. I was about to say something, but decided against it. Where did he go? Did he really flee like Trixie said? She did not like the feeling of this. He was a cornered animal now. Who knows what he might try? He reappeared. Twilight did not like what she saw. And his aura was the book of forbidden knowledge he used earlier. Nightlight gave it the rest of the story. You're right. I am too tired to fight you now. I'll just have to even the odds a little. Tracy took a seat to step back, and her poster came wary. Twilight! Destroy that book now! Twilight nodded, lit up a horn for a teleport, but it was too late. Father's horn lit up with a strange green color, and Twilight almost lost her balance as the ground shook. She stared in shock as dark purple roots shot out of the ground. Not just one or two, but hundreds of them broke through the concrete and trees in the park. The one that broke the fountain next to them in half. They were huge and almost as thick as tree trunks. What the hell are these things? Tracy said in a tight voice, watching her roots with some weariness, uncertain what they might pose. In a blink of an eye, they struck. One went down in Twilight, and she rolled away just in time. Roots smashed the concrete floor to blitz. Tracy used her sword to cut one of the coming towards her, too. It fought to the ground where it went dead a moment later. The more the roots struck at him, Twilight dodged or shot at the oncoming roots, but there was too many of them. She screamed as one flew right out underneath her, causing her to lose her footing. She was crashing to the ground with a painful thud. Tracy rushed to her defense, tried to have any roots that made near them. Are you okay? Trixie asked. Fine. Twilight's eyes widened as he saw her father teleport behind Trixie. Watch out! But it was far too late, and Trixie was blindsided by a lightning bolt spell. The roots wasted no time in wrapping around and immobilizing her. She gave a cry of pain as they began to squeeze the life out of her. Twilight wasted no time and shut the root until it was blown into pieces. Trixie gave a nod of thanks and they faced Nightlight. His heart was alight again, and green magic, and the ground shook as more roots appeared. Twilight could not believe the amount of things in front of her. He rose out of the ground and went around with more ferocity than before. She jumped back to avoid several of them, lasting out at her. Twilight's eyes widened when she realized what her father was doing. She was trying to separate him. From the very beginning, Twilight could tell that her father hesitated in fighting her. His attacks were always aimed at Trixie. She couldn't afford to leave them alone together. She panicked when she lost sight of Trixie. The roots too thick to find her. Twilight thought about teleporting, but all the roots made it difficult. There were too many of them, and their behavior too wild to get a clear place to teleport to. She didn't want to teleport into a root. Grating her teeth, Twilight blew the roots in front of her to pieces. Every time she destroyed a root, another would take its place. She refused to give up. So I destroyed the surrounding roots. She hoped she wouldn't be too late. Just she screamed Twilight sneezed as the root grew up in front of them, separating them. She cut and diced every root in her way, but it didn't seem to matter. He just kept sprawling from the ground, and it didn't take long for her and Nightlight to be boxed in by the roots. Tracy turned towards the former noble with trepidation, not liking whatever crazy trick he would pull out of his hat this time. She was surprised to see from his body sense how tired he was. It's like his whole body was sagging. There's also green sparks coming from his horn. Tracy could hear Nightlight wince in pain every time it sparked. Was dark magic taking a toll on him? I mean, seriously, guys, am I the only one who's curious about this? Where's Shining Armor? Nightlight gave a weak laugh. It's just you and me now, Little Moon. I'm going to enjoy finally tearing your body limb from limb. Trixie readied her sword. I'd like to see you try. Nightlight stalked forward, sword to his aura. but stumbled and fell onto one knee. No, not yet, he growled. His breathing sounded painful. The cost of your dark powers, Trixie mocked. It doesn't matter. Natalie shook his head. I've finished anyway. There isn't anything left for me. Once I kill you, I'm content. I've given my daughter the destiny she deserves. I mean, seriously, right now it's starting to sound like favoritism, guys. I wouldn't have so much of a problem if Shining Armor wasn't an established character in the Lunaverse, and if this fic was made before 2012. Sorry, Trixie. Even if I die, I'm taking you with me. Not like Charles slowed his blade, diving at Trixie's head. As he dodged with surprising speeds and weaved through the barrage. As he smirked. Even with her alone, Nightlight was too tired and weak to be a threat. As he decided to dodge and block his attacks, for now to tire him out, then finish when he was too exhausted. As he straightened as more attacks came her way. Trixie screamed as the ground under her suddenly moved from a root growing underneath her, fell flat against her face. She tried to get back on her hose, but Nightlight saw a blast of magic that paralyzed her. It was only for a moment, but it was enough that some of those creatures were to bind her. They wrapped around and forcing her to the ground. Trixie, hold on, I'm coming! Twilight yelled from a distance. Trixie tried to struggle out of her bonds, but was still too weak for Nightlight's spell. She screamed when Nightlight grabbed his sword and his hose and wailed on her head. Sparks flew as he hit her. He increased the strength of his attacks, and Trixie held on as best as he could. Stubborn mare, Nightlight said, panting when he stopped. Is that all you got? Trixie jeered. My grandmother could hit me harder than that. Nightlight growled and kicked Trixie in the ribs over and over again. Come on! You can do better than that! Trixie admonished. She was in pain when Nightlight hit her again with a sword. He went in for another blow to her head but stopped when he was overcome with another wave of pain. He shook his head, raised his sword for another strike, this time above his hose. Trixie felt her body regain the strength as the paralysis spell wore off. In a few moments she could fight again. Nightlight was just where she needed him to be, and now, in a blur of motion, she tore the vines wrapped around her to shreds, and head butted Nightlight in the face. He recoiled in pain and shock. No! Nightlight aimed his sword at Trixie. As he smashed a little hope before she could get a spell off, he screamed in pain. My turn! Trixie summoned her sword back to her hose, and released all the pain and anger she had felt for his constant torment. He tried to fight back. Trixie was too fast for his weakened state. His head cracked face once he crashed into it. Finally! Twilight cried out in triumph as he emerged, blowing a hole in the vine wall, unable to continue anymore. No! Natalie screamed in impudent fury. I will not have all I've done go to waste. It's over, Nightlight! Twilight proclaimed. Nightlight recoiled as another wave of pain seemed to overcome him. But he stood his ground. He summoned his sword back to his hold and growled in frustration. He charged at Trixie, but Twilight unleashed a barrage of air she shot down. Nightlight struggled to his hose. His body was sinking uncontrollably. No! Nightlight muttered under his breath. Pressing a button on his morphin and teleported. Then she pressed a button on her own morphin and readied herself. Wrath of the King! Nightlight screamed. Trixie flipped out of the way as a torrent of electricity came out from behind and struck out her own attack on Nightlight's explosive flank. Searing Blade! Trixie cried out. There was an explosive fire when Trixie's sword connected with Nightlight's body, tore through a wall of vines. He kept bouncing off the ground several times, going through a few trees. I pressed the button on her morpher. Crosshair appeared over her right eye. She aimed her two guns in Nightlight's direction. Unyielding judgment! Twilight fired off her guns and a barrage of rainbow bullets flew at her father. He honed in on his location, and every single one hit their mark. Twilight turned her back on her father. Nightlight's body went through a verity. His arm was covered with uncontrollable cracks. He collapsed to the ground on his knees. His body was engulfed in an explosion. The smoke cleared. Trixie could see Nightlight on the ground, morpher in front of him. The face was full of cracks, and the gem powering was a pure black color, like the color it was sitting in. Trixie unmorphed and approached him with little weariness. Twilight unmorphed as well and joined her. No, you can't end like this, Nightlight said weakly. He reached out to his morpher. Before he could reach it, cracked in half and crumbled to dust. Nightlight screamed as his entire body shook. To Trixie's horror, he started aging. In seconds, decades seemed to pass. His hair went gray, and his face wrinkled in age. In a few moments, the former Viceroy aged at least 3 or 4 decades. Actually, where's Velvet, too? Trixie took a step. What was this? Was this the cost of losing his morpher? Was it the dark magic? Nightly waits in pain and mumbled to himself, wide and frantic. He looked at Twilight, whose face was a stone mask. Let's go, Twilight said, turning away. But, Tracy tried to say, but she was deciding to make her way out of the park. Tracy lingered for a moment, unsure what to do, but decided to follow Twilight. They still had work to do. Tracy saw tears falling from Twilight's face, but decided to say nothing. After all, what could she say?